For the last 3 weeks, I've been doing 75 hard. Really, it should be called 75 medium, 75 soft, whatever you want to do. I'm not doing the traditional program. And for once, I feel myself deeply changing. In this video, I'm going to cover the things about 75 hard that you didn't even realize you needed to know, like these insights I've come away with. I filmed this video a few times because I just have these like epiphanies that are coming up. So I'm going to cover everything you need to know, what the 75 hard program is, how I've tweaked it and how you can tweak it, the deep benefits I'm seeing and that others see, and then tips, practical tips to set yourself up for success. Because we've all done challenges and it almost could like leave us worse off than before just by the disappointment of not completing the challenge. So it's really important for you to adopt these tips. By the way, my name's Rachel. I'm just a woman that puts videos together, share them on the internet. It really brings greater meaning to my life, and this is something that I'm so excited to share. I know there's a lot of videos out there, but I don't know that they really capture why this program is so powerful. So that's what I want to do today. Okay, so what the 75 hard program is. It was started by this gentleman, Andy Frisella. It's really like a grassroots movement. There's a website you can go to learn more details about it, see people's progress photos. He has a book that you can purchase, but really it's free. It's a grassroots movement. And here's the premise of it. For 75 days consecutively, or you have to start over, 75 days, you are to not drink alcohol, follow a diet without cheating, do 2 45-minute workouts a day, one of them being outside, read 10 pages of a nonfiction, preferably entrepreneurial type book, 1 gallon of water, and take a progress photo every day. Seems pretty straightforward, and sometimes you look at that list and you're like, oh, it's not that bad, and then other times you look at it and like, that's a tall order. I've tweaked it to not be so challenging, so hard. Here's what I'm doing. Here's my version. 1 gallon of water, progress photo every day, no alcohol. I'm not following a diet. Sorry, not happening for me. I'm doing 1 45-minute workout a day. I also say walking counts. Okay, walking is the most underrated form of exercise, okay? It really is. And then of course the 10 pages of a reading of a nonfiction book. Okay, but the whole thing is, if you miss one of those things, you've got to start all over, okay? Guess which one most people fail at on a given day that has them start all over. Not alcohol, not the diet. It's the progress photo, because it's one of the things where you can easily forget it and you're in bed late at night and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't take my progress photo today. It reminds me, there's a phrase that goes along the lines of, and I'm full of phrases, but there's a phrase that goes, the thing that's easy to do is just as easy not to do. There's all these aha moments in this program because as you're going day by day and doing your list, you figure out really quick the best way to tackle things. It's best to like get as much done in the morning before your day gets away. It's kind of like any time that you procrastinate on an activity or a task, it becomes much harder the longer you hold off on it versus just getting it done immediately. I've already quickly shared with you the 75 hard program, the traditional one. You can make it your own by even identifying areas of your life that like you just want to improve on or things that bring you joy. In hindsight, one of the things I probably would have done is make sure my kitchen is thoroughly cleaned before I go to bed. Make that like a thing, because it's another form of discipline. It's something that's not crazy difficult, but you can tack onto each day, and it just creates this upward spiral, this momentum. You could even add something like deleting social media or deleting shopping apps or something that you do for an extended period of time. So we're already weaving into the benefits of the program. First of all, it provides you a kind of structure. You have these tasks that you're to complete every day, and that also garners this level of discipline. You have the discipline to get it done because you have something over your head. If you miss on one of these things, there are deep consequences. You have to then start this all over again. Nobody wants to do that. That is one of the big things that separates this from other challenges. You do dry January, you accidentally have a cocktail because it's your friend's birthday and she's throwing a hibachi party. Your dry January is just not going to be dry anymore. And the likelihood that you're going to have another drink during the month is going to increase greatly. But if you then know by having that drink at that fun hibachi birthday party, you're going to have to start the month all over. You're not going to want to do another month, right? It's like, it's not worth it. There's consequences with this. How many of us have consequences for our poor decisions? Sure, there are consequences, but are those consequences enough to steer our behavior? So that's really what this program can do. Another great benefit can be captured in this phrase: the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. By having this list of things, this list of responsibilities you are to do, you are pushing yourself and being disciplined and building trust with yourself and pushing just a little bit further to get those things done. You also find yourself pushing a little bit further in other areas of your life. I'm pushing myself further at work. I'm pushing myself further in creating like a loving home. I'm pushing myself further in being more present in my relationship. You just push yourself further in all aspects. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Here's another big thing. With this spanning 75 days, which is basically 2.5 months, that's a long period of time. Like I usually do dry January every year. A month feels long enough, but 2.5 months is a big difference. I think that's a really great amount of time to push through our patterns. We all have these patterns that we may or may not be aware of. You're more likely to be able to see it in a friend of yours or, your partner than yourself. So here's what I mean by patterns. We can all have the best intentions of doing something and doing something well, but we have these programs that are pretty much running us that we may not be conscious of. Most of the time, those programs can have an element of self-sabotage. I can attest to this. I will make progress in something and it's almost like there's some belief system I have that limits me where I end up being self-destructive and I don't see something through, or I get distracted by something else and my commitment is cut short. 2.5 months is a long enough period of time where I think we're able to push through that default pattern from either distraction or self-sabotage, or I'm sure something else. There's examples where it's like, okay, you start a new skincare routine and then you see an ad to like a different skincare routine. And then before you know it, you're not doing that original skincare routine anymore. You're doing the next shiny thing, not giving it enough time to see if you get results. Same with workouts. Oh, I'm starting this new workout routine, or I'm starting this new approach, got distracted by something else. This person sounds more convincing. Let me try this new thing. Never actually gave the original workout routine enough time to see if it actually works. See what I mean? So 75 days, we commit to these things to then see what comes to fruition. And then in addition, we're giving ourselves enough time to see the patterns that surface and push through them anyhow. And then another way I find myself looking at this 75 hard when I analyze like, why is this so beneficial, is because there are these small habits moving towards things that actually matter. Hydration matters. Getting physical activity matters. Reading and learning really matters. These are all things that make a difference and change us in who we are. Another benefit I'm seeing is that, okay, sure, I'm reading 10 pages a day, but it ends up being that I read much more than that. And I'm excited about reading and I'm on shopping apps less. I'm not watching TV nearly as much. I am finding myself more pulled to that than these other things that used to rob my time. Some other benefits to rattle off, and I know on some level I've already said this, but I think the best thing we can all do for ourselves and improving our life is building trust with ourselves. That when you say you're gonna do something, to be able to believe that you're actually gonna do that builds a level of confidence that helps you show up in the world better. It just makes life all around better when you can rely on you. That feeling, that sense of trust and pride with yourself is beautiful because it's like a type of love. It's a type of self-admiration, not in an egotistical way, but in a respect way. You earn respect for yourself. That's why, like, all the things, like, don't get me wrong, I love all the things. I love learning about the devices and trying the new things and getting the nice clothes, but that stuff doesn't really move the needle in the way that we're seeking. The discipline, the earning self-respect, the following through with what you say you're gonna do, that's what makes us feel better overall. It's not the easy route, but it's the worthwhile one. Okay, so there's so many other benefits that I'm probably just not gonna get into. If you have experienced benefits from 75 Hard or your own version, or you anticipate benefits you're gonna see, please comment below. Now we're gonna move into the tips. So these are the things I think are going to set you up for success if you want to try 75 Hard, 75 whatever version you wanna do. One tip: do not move the goalpost. What I mean by that is, once you decide what your 75 Hard is gonna consist of, you can make it whatever you want. What it comes down to is that you're gonna commit that list that you've come up with for 75 days. You're gonna commit to it. Don't move the goalpost, meaning there's gonna be days where you're gonna be like, this is easy. I can add a few things. Let me up the ante a little bit. Don't do that. That is one of the biggest mistakes many of us make in our lives, where we're gonna achieve something, we end up moving the goal, making it much more challenging, and then once we don't reach that one, but we had already reached our original goal, we end up being disappointed with ourselves. I found myself at some points like, I can make this more challenging. Let me add some things to this. And I realized, because of this book I read called The Gap and the Gain, highly recommend it, I'll link it below. I realized when I focus on my shortcomings, I end up being so disappointed with myself. But when you focus on your accomplishments, you go so much further. And one of the reasons why we end up being so disappointed with ourselves is because we'll have a goal in mind and we'll move the goal. We just set ourselves up for disappointment. So don't move the goalpost. Have an accountability partner, somebody that you trust, that you know is going to take this as seriously as you are, that will be your accountability buddy. Because on those weaker moments where you're like, I really don't feel like working out today, maybe the 75 hard program isn't for me. Why do I need to do 2.5 months? I mean, I'm already at 1 month. What's it really matter? You're going to think of your accountability partner. It's going to push you further. Another tip, take inventory of your life and how it's changing. How are you shifting your day a little bit? What benefits are you seeing? Track it through the challenge, because it's going to help you build momentum when you observe these things. Around alcohol, if you're somebody that struggles with alcohol, you really want to put some thought into this and some systems in place to really help you. For the past few years, I've been doing dry January. I will also just choose a given month and say, I'm not going to drink at all. That's really helped me build my own discipline. And for a lot of people that don't really drink much, it's like, that shouldn't be a big deal. Like, do you have a drinking problem? I don't think you need to necessarily have a drinking problem for it to be difficult to abstain from alcohol for a long period of time, especially given what your family or friend culture is like. What I mean by that is, I know in my family and friend culture, drinking is a big part of it. Oh, let's go out and get drinks before we go for dinner. Or come on over, we got this nice bottle of wine. It's much easier for me now because I've been doing this for a few years now, but I used to have a plan in place and have like a very strong why for why I'm not drinking alcohol. It's not even about the alcohol. It's about building self-trust with myself. I'm proud of the things I do where I've committed to something and I want to waver, but I stick to it. The discipline is what makes me proud of myself, and that's one of the reasons why I think this program is so great, is because you push yourself further and you just build that self-respect and self-trust. I realize I'm probably repeating myself, but if it means that things are better to stick, that's fine. It's all good. Around reading, you may be surprised how even if you're not a big reader, that you end up building a love for reading. One of the things that my accountability partner shared with me was this app called Libby. But if you have a Kindle, and I do recommend a Kindle because then you can reduce clutter with books in your life. With Kindle, you usually download books through Amazon, right? Well, there's an app called Libby that you connect your library card. So you may need to go to the library, become a library card holder. With Libby, you connect your library card so that you can check out books from your library on your Kindle for free. Another great money-saving tip for books, buy them on eBay. There's a lot of great deals. I could care less if the book is used and like a little bit tattered. It is also kind of cool when you see the notes people took in a book, but that's a great tip if you don't want to spend much money, because I should say Audible books do not count with the 75 Hard Challenge. And it's understood because it's almost like a type of meditation when you read. I think there is so much more value and so much you get out of a book when you read it versus listening to it on an audiobook. But that's just my opinion. I could probably put together a video on the benefits of reading. That's another thing that's changing me as a person, is reading. It's huge. My mind's sharper, my memory's better. I often say I like myself more when I'm reading. What it does for me as a person, I just love. Another tip when it comes to 75 Hard is using Post-its. And this is something that's trended with the challenge, where they'll put 75 Post-its on the wall. They may or may not number them, but each day that they complete their list, they would then take off a Post-it and you can see your progress. I personally haven't been so good with this, and in a way, I would just rather not have the Post-its at all. I would rather just not even think about the numbers and like how long I have to go. I just am thinking of this as like a lifestyle thing. A few more tips for you. Keep a little list. You can even have it on like the background of your phone, so you can keep these things top of mind so that you don't forget them, because some of them are easy to forget, especially the progress photo. Speaking of progress photos, here's another tip. Don't judge or track your progress photos until basically the end. Okay, our bodies fluctuate. I become more and more aware of how much my body bloats, how much my body changes. If you start judging your body week 1, week 2, you're gonna give up because you're gonna be like, why am I not getting results yet? As a matter of fact, there have been times where I'm like, I think I've gained weight already with this, which I kind of did, but it's because I'm bloated or whatever. Gotta give it time. That's why this is so great, is you're giving yourself a long span of time to see results. So don't be judging your progress photos out the gate is what I'm saying. If there is one regret I have around 75 Hard, it's that I didn't try it earlier. If I tried it earlier, I think I would have been doing it every year. Instead of doing dry January, I'm gonna be doing a 75 Hard to start the year. When I had learned about 75 Hard, I don't think I saw much value in it because I have worked out, I have ate well, I've done these things, but it's going a little bit further, holding yourself accountable, having consequences to your slip-ups that really is pushing me so much further and has me feeling like a deep change within myself. In this moment, I feel like I'm the person that I've been aiming to be for so long because it's helping me fire on all cylinders. Hydrated, educated, moving, sober, like all those things just make all the difference. And of course, it's up to you. However you want to do this challenge, however you want to adjust it, make it a point that when you say you're going to do something, you follow through with it, because that is how you build respect with yourself, and that's how you really build momentum in your life. I could go on, really want to keep this succinct. Thank you so much for watching. If you like videos like this one, please be sure to like it. It legit makes a difference. If you feel like you hit it off with me and you want to subscribe, would love that so much. It amazes me that I have this YouTube channel. It amazes me that it's grown as it has, and I always like to encourage people, if there is something that's haunting you that you've been meaning to do for so long, just get started. And that's really another benefit of 75 Hard, is like it shows you that it's these incremental steps that take you on a really meaningful journey. Anyways, thank you so much. See you next time.